Alright guys, so let's start the 7.1, section 7.1 chapter test review, which is really for your quiz. But this video will also be used when you have to study for your test. Okay, so number one, this one. Write the ratio as a ratio of whole numbers using fractional notation. So the way that this ratio, if we did it in ratio notation, would be 12 to 36. And we already learned that this means 2. Okay? So the way to write this as a fraction is you need to turn this clockwise. So this is going to go down, this is going to go up. So you're going to have 12 over 36. But we need to simplify that. The greatest common factor of 12 and 36 is 12. So it's going to be 1 over 3. So your answer is 1 over 3. They want it as a simplified fraction. Okay? So next question. Write the following ratio of whole numbers using fractional notation. So whenever we write a ratio, we have to make sure that the units are the same. So we're going to turn 5 feet into inches so we can compare inches to inches. So in 5 feet, I know that in 1 foot, in 1 feet, whatever, there are 12 inches. Now, when we multiply, this and this are going to cancel each other out. So what's 5 times 12 divided by 1? That's 60 over 1, which is just 60. So now we have 60 inches to 2 inches, to 2 inches, which we can convert this as a fraction to 60 over 2, which obviously we simplify, and this will be 30. And you got to write it as a simplified fraction, guys, so please make sure that you do 30 over 1. It'll mark it wrong if you don't do 30 over 1. So just make sure you're reading it, okay? Now, number 3. Use the table to find the ratio of an average fin whale to the weight of an average blue whale. So that's very important. We should read our question because this is ratio of a fin whale to the weights of a blue whale. So fin for fin whale to blue for the blue whale. So what is the weight of a fin whale? 40 tons. So 40 to what is the weight of the blue? 132. Now, this is going to be 40 over 132. Now, I just want to do this so you guys can, obviously you guys can do divided by 2, and keep going until you get a simplified answer. But I want to review what we learned in class about prime factorization and finding your prime factor. So I'm going to show you guys how to find the greatest common factor. So you only have to divide, so you only have to divide divide this by, let's say, I don't know, divide by 4 maybe, and divide by 4. I don't know if it's 4, let's find out, but that's just the example. If you want to divide by 2, you can keep going and keep going. But if you divide by 2, it's going to be 20 over something else. So that means that 20 is also going to have to be divided by 2, and you're going to keep going in this long pattern. And the more fractions you write, the more you're going to get messed up. Okay? So let's find what our greatest common factor is. So we only have to divide this guy and this guy by the greatest common factor. So I know in 40, we have 5 times 8. And now this 8 is 2 times 4, 2 times 2. Okay, so now that's it. I'm done. We did our prime factorization tree. So we have prime factor, prime, prime, prime. So once we get all our primes, we're done. So let's do 132. So this is going to be, now, now I know that 132 is divisible by 4, because remember, for something to be divisible by 4, the last 2 digits have to be divisible by 4. And I know that 32 is divisible by 4. So I'm going to do, it's going to be 4 times 33. This is going to be 2 times 2. and 33 is 3 times 11. And all of these are prime factors. So now, our greatest common factor is all the prime factors that they have in common, hence common factor. So let's find out our common factors first. So there's a 5 here. Is there a 5 here? No. So this 5, we don't care about that. So this guy's done. Now, is there a 2 here and a 2 here? Yeah. So there's a 2 here and a 2 here. So I'm gonna write the 2 here and I'm gonna cross it out so I don't read it again by mistake. Now, there's another 2 here and another 2 here. So I'm gonna add that as another factor that is common between them. So cross out and cross out. Now, is there a 2 over here and a 2 over here? No. So now this is gone. Now there's no more prime factors over here. So that means we're done. Is there a 3 here? Yeah, but there's none here. So this gets canceled out. Is there an 11 here? Yeah, but there's an 11 there? No, so this gets canceled out. So that means our greatest common factor is the product of all our common factors. What are our common factors? 2 and 2. So now our greatest common factor is gonna be what? What's 2 times 2? 4. So now I only have to divide this by 4, divide this by 4. So my answer will be 10 over 33. Okay? And that's my final answer. So 10 over 33. You guys should have learned this in Algebra 1, but just in case you forgot, this is very important, okay? Being able to find the greatest common factor. So now, find the ratio of the width of the basketball court to its perimeter. So what's the width? Right here, 60. So it's gonna be 60 to, what's the perimeter? Well, I know perimeter is 2 length plus 2 width. So 2 times 76 plus 2 times 60. 2 times 76. This is 152 plus 120, which is 272. Okay? So now you're gonna wanna simplify this. So 60 272. This is 6 times 10, 2 times 3, 2 times 5. This is 4 times 68, 2 times 2, 4 times 17, 2 times 2. So now we've done all of our prime factors. So now let's see which ones are in common. Is there a 2 here and a 2 here? Yeah. So my greatest common factor gonna be 2 times something else. Is there a 3 here and a 3 here? No. So this gets canceled. Is there a 2 here and a 2 here? Yeah. Is there a 5 here and a 5 over here? No. So we're done. And now that we're done with all of these prime factors, how is it possible that there's gonna be something in here that's also in here? It's impossible. So there's no more greatest common. There's no more common factors. So now our final greatest common factor is 4. So let's turn this into 60 over 272. It's gonna divide by 4. You divide by the greatest common factor to simplify fully. 60 divided by 4 is 15. And 272 divided by 4 is 68. So this is our final answer. That's it. Okay. So let's do this next one. The measure of the angles of a triangle are in the extended ratio of 11, 4 to 3. Well, we already know when we see extended ratio, we know that these numbers, that this 11, 4, and 3 are not the numbers, the dimensions of your angles, or your, even if your side lengths, if it would have been, of the triangle. These are called multipliers, right? We learned this, that these are called multipliers. And these multipliers are gonna multiply a what? A constant, or a variable, if that's easier for you. Variable. So now I'm gonna have 11x plus 4x plus 3x equals to what? What are we trying to find? The measure of the angles of a triangle. Well, how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. So now we just solve for x. So now 11 plus 4, 15, 18x over 180, divide by 18, divide by 18, x is going to equal to 10. Now, my x is 10, but is that the measure of the degrees of the triangle? No, this 10 is going to be the constant, right, or the variable. So now when I plug this back into my multipliers, I'm going to have, what's 11 times 10? 110 degrees. 110 degrees, comma, look, you got to use a comma to separate the answers, 40 degrees and 30 degrees. And it checks out because what's 110 plus 40 plus 30? It's 180. Okay? So now, this one, what type, solve the following proportion for the variable x? Well, what are these? This 4 and 6. Okay, first, before any of that, I have an equal sign here. So what do I need to do? If I have an equal sign, I need to cross multiply, right? So now my 4 and 6 are my extremes, and my x and 5 are my means. So let's cross multiply. I'm gonna have 5x equals what? 6 times 4? 24. Divide by 5, divide by 5. X is 24 over 5. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay? So now let's do this one. Once again, solve the following proportion for the variable x. There's an equal sign, so I need to cross multiply. So my extremes and my means. So I'm going to have 9x. Why does it keep doing that? 9x equals 18 times x minus 4. So we're gonna distribute. So 9x equals 18x minus what's 4 times 18? 4 times 18 minus 72. Gonna subtract this 18 over there. That's 18x. Negative 9x equals negative 72. Divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. My x is going to be 8. That's it. Okay? Now, same thing here, right? Solve the following proportion for a variable x. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated if I'm remembering it correctly, but we can still find it the same way. My extremes, my means, I'm going to have 19 x plus 1 equals 5 x plus 4, 19x plus 19 equals 5x plus 20. Remember, all I'm doing is distributive property. Okay? Minus 5x on this side to minus 5x on that side. Minus 19 here, minus 19 here. I'm going to have 14x equals 1. So my x is going to be 1 divided by 14. Okay? I'm just double checking to make sure I did everything correct. Yeah, just looks complicated because it's such a weird, random, improper fraction, but if you were to plug it back in, it would work, okay? Now, this one is challenging. So, draw a triangle that satisfies the condition that the measures of the angles are in the extended ratio below. So, extended ratio, right? So, this is the extended ratio. So, how does this supposed to look like? 7x plus 7x plus x should equal what? Well, it should equal 180 because we're talking about the measures of the angles in a what? In a triangle. So let's solve for x. And if we solve for x, we should be able to get at least one of these angles, right? Because what is the multiplier of this x? Just 1. So 7 plus 7, 14, 15. So 15x equals 180 divided by 15 divided by 15. So x equals what? 180 divided by 15 is 12. So that means my x is 12. So what should the dimensions, what should the angles of my triangle be? Well, remember that it is in the extended ratio of 7x, 7x, and 1x. So that means what is 7 times 12? 84. So that means the measure of my angle should be 84, comma, 84, comma, and 12, comma. Is there any triangle that follows that? Yeah, right here, C. So C is my answer. Okay, last one. And this one's a little bit tricky, but it's still the same steps. You know, this is stuff we should have learned already in Algebra 1, right? So let's highlight my extremes and my means, and let's cross multiply. So x minus 4 times x plus 1 is equal to 3 times 12. So we're going to FOIL. So x squared plus x negative 4x minus 4 equals 36. So let's combine like terms over here on the left side. So x minus 4x is minus 3x minus 4 equals 36. Now, this is in a quadratic formula format. So since you have the x squared and then you have the x and then another constant, you have a okay. Sorry. So we want to turn this into a quadratic formula so we can solve for it. So what is important about our quadratic formula? We need to have an x squared, an x, a constant, and then equals to 0. So let's make that equal to 0. So minus 36 minus 36. So what is negative 4 minus 36? That's going to be negative 40. So x squared minus 3x minus 40 equals 0. Now, remember, I don't know if you guys remember. If you want, we can go over it in class. But I'm going to show you guys how I like to do this stuff. So what I do is I multiply the first and the last term. So what is 1 times negative 40? Remember that subtraction becomes that 40 is negative when we multiply. So this is going to be negative 40. So I have to find two numbers that when they multiply to each other, they equal negative 40. And when they add to each other equals what? Negative 3. Okay? So I have 4 times 10, but nothing like that. Nothing adding will give me that negative 3. What about 5 times 8? Well, yeah, I can get negative 3 with the 4 and with the 5 and the 8 because I can do positive 5 and negative 8. Guys, what is 5 plus negative 8, which is really just 5 minus 8? That's negative 3. And what's positive 5 times negative 8? Negative 40. So these are my two answers. So now I'm going to have x equals, x plus 5. Oh my God. X plus 5 and x minus 8 equals 0. Now I need to set these guys both equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0, and x minus 8 equals 0. So my x will be negative 5, and my 8, my other x will be positive 8. So whenever you have whenever you have a quadratic formula, whenever you use the quadratic formula and you find your x's this way, you need to plug them in to see if they actually work, to see if they actually yield you an equal proportion. So let's try negative 5 first. Negative 5 is the first one. So negative 5 minus 4 over 12 is equal to 3 negative 5 plus 1. Negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9 over 12. And you're going to have 3 over negative 4. So let's cross multiply and see if we do get a true proportion. Negative 9 times negative 4 gives me 36. And what is 3 times 12? 36. So this is a true proportion. This x value makes it a true proportion, so I know that my x, one of the answers, has to be negative 5. Let's put a comma just in case there's another one. So in orange, let's do the other one. 8. So 8 minus 4 over 12 equals 3. 8 plus 1. What is 8 minus 4? 4 over 12 equals 3 over 9. Let's cross multiply. What is 4 times 9? 4 times 9 is 36. And 12 times 3 is also 36. So both my x's were valid. So my answers are x can be negative 5